Okay, I'm here with Kacee Baucom. She's out in Boston, Massachusetts, watching the sunrise on the beach, making me super jealous right now. I haven't had a beach sunrise in forever, and she's just like, "Oh, I do this every day."
Yeah,
Look at that.
it's my
Uh,
daily routine.
there you go. That is so cool. Um, so the way Kacee and I are related, just quick background is she is a Patrick girl. She's got her older siblings are Tyler, Brandon, Rex, and Lindsay, and so I'm related to that crew because the oldest sibling married my oldest sister, and so we're in-laws. So it's pretty cool. We've got. I remember. I don't know if you remember, but when Rhiannon and Tyler got married, I remember meeting you for the first time, and you were tiny. You were very small.
I was a baby.
Yeah, it's crazy how long ago that was. But so we've known each other for a little while. Just
Yeah,
not super tight since we lived at different ends of the country for the longest
for
time. But
sure. But I
but it's
feel
been
like I
really
can talk
cool.
to you like family whenever I see
Yeah.
you or interact with you.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's cool that it's like that. So
uh-huh.
it's funny how that is, but I'm really grateful for that. So, thank you first off for being willing to come out here and spend some time talking with me. So if you're good
Sure.
with it, we'll jump right in. So,
Hey,
um,
sounds good.
what is your definition of darkness and light metaphorically?
Um, I guess I can think of kind of words that coincide with those two things. So for darkness, I would think of like heavy, lonely, confusing, scary, like, yeah, um, those kind of things. And then for light, I guess it's just more uplifting and freeing and peaceful and joyful. So,
All right, beautiful. So, with that definition, have you ever experienced the sunrise in your own life?
yes, definitely. I think I've experienced a lot of them. Um, just as the sun rises and sets each day, I think life is kind of has periods of light and dark all the time. Some are more dramatic than others, for sure. Um, but yeah, so did you want me to share like
Yeah,
a
I would love.
specific?
Do you have any specific stories? That'd be great, and it could be
Um,
big or small.
yeah, so I'll just talk about kind of the most recent experience, which was this past winter. I was talking with you a little bit about it before, but just in the dead of winter here, we live out in Boston. We're away from our families, so we're completely alone out here. We have friends, of course, but it's just not the same without that family support. So anyway, in the winter here, it's hard because it's super cold. It's extremely dark. The sun sets really early, and so you're just kind of stuck inside. And especially with little kids who are active, it makes it really tough. Um, so, and then with this winter in particular, with all of the coronavirus stuff, everything shutting down, we felt like we were just like isolated, and I felt like I was in the dark, literally and figuratively. Um, and then, so then on top of this, in the middle of all of that, I found out that I was pregnant, and it was like, it did not feel like a good surprise at that time. It felt overwhelming, like, and daunting. Um, so yeah, so there was that.
Wow,
Um,
yeah.
and then, you know, I bet Chelsea experiences this too, but when I'm pregnant, especially in the beginning, like I'm very, very sick and nauseous and just tired. And yeah, I have a really hard time in the beginning. Um, and at that time, I was working on a work project that was kind of intense and stressful for me. And I didn't have my regular childcare schedule because of coronavirus. You know, I didn't have the YMCA where I usually take my kids to get a couple hours of work done. So I had that as well.
It
And
sounds like the intensity was turned up on pretty much everything.
yeah, exactly. And so anyway, we were just kind of grinding. We were sitting there in the dark. Me and Zach were starting to accept the pregnancy, and we were like starting to get kind of excited for it. And just be like, we're gonna be able to do this. We can get through it. And then I was kind of getting out of my sickness. I was getting out of the first trimester, and we had an ultrasound, and the baby did not have a heartbeat and had
Oh,
passed
wow.
away.
Yeah.
So it felt like we were caught in a wave, like in the ocean, and we were just like getting hit repeatedly. You know, when you can't even get your head up to like catch your breath when the
Yeah.
ocean's just like pounding on you. That's what it kind of felt like. And like, yeah, so that was really hard. And I just, I don't know, I leaned on the Lord. I leaned on Zach a ton. He's the only one I had out here. And we just like leaned on each other. And I think it was a mixture of things that started to like get the sunrise. But, you know, the weather finally started warming up. Things started opening up. The shutdown wasn't as severe at that point. Like this was maybe end of April, May. And so it definitely wasn't like a light switch from dark to light, but it was like a slow thaw where things started getting better, and we were able to like get together with our friends, and we came out to Utah and saw family, and like that's the reset that I needed to just get back in a good place, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was able to deal with the miscarriage and get to a really good place with that too, and just
So
come.
what did that take though? Because that's a hard thing for a lot of people. I mean, Chelsea
Yeah,
was telling me that 1 in 4 women experience the miscarriage, and emotionally, that's a big loss. Especially if you're really excited about bringing this life into the world.
for sure. I think that helped, kind of what you mentioned, that like I learned that it is common and a lot of people go through it, and it's not like, because what you start to question is like, is there something wrong with me? um is this gonna just keep happening, you know, like am I gonna be able to have another healthy baby? Like you just start getting those kind of dark thoughts. And learning that it is really common and it just happens, like no one really knows why. Sometimes it's for the best, you know, sometimes that baby maybe wouldn't have survived, or just those genes weren't healthy and strong. So anyway, you just learn certain things that help you feel better about it.
Oh, wow.
um and then also it's a very like, it's a hard experience physically. And so once your body kind of starts to feel better and you get out of that craziness, then it feels, yeah, I'm in a good place now. So
I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, as wild as it is with getting pregnant in the first place and what that does to your hormones and everything. I mean,
yeah,
I know you were saying how sick you were and everything. Like
yeah,
I've seen Chelsea get sick like that, but I can't imagine your body trying to get back to equilibrium after something like
yeah,
that, when it's not exactly a natural process.
No,
Well,
and
I
like
mean, maybe it is though. I don't know.
it's just a result that you don't expect too, because you're
Right.
also dealing with kind of the emotional side of it, and just losing that, and having to, the thought of having to start over again. But then to have like the physical part of it is just another hard thing.
Yeah. Wow.
So I guess like what I've learned, and I've learned this over and over and over with every sunrise experience that I have in my life, but honestly, just, it's, the saying is true, time heals all things, and like it just takes time. And like when you're in the middle of an experience like that, it feels like it's never going to get better, and that's just your life from now on.
Yeah.
Kind of like you and I were talking about with a newborn baby. You feel like that's just your life now.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but not to say that newborn babies suck, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. The intensity of it is
Yeah,
through the roof. Yeah.
so it feels like you're never going to get out of that, but eventually everything passes, like things get better, the sun starts to rise, and you know.
Oh, that's so good. That's awesome, to learn something like that early on in life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true, because it happens over and over and over and over.
Yeah. Okay, so what about, let's kind of transition a little bit. What about the word wholehearted? What's your definition of the word wholehearted?
um well, I think there's a few different facets of it, of being wholehearted. I think there is a part to it where, when I think of wholehearted, I think of someone who is confident and who's like unapologetically themselves in no matter what situation, no matter what group of friends they're with, like they're just themselves always. So I think that's one part of it. I think also someone who wholeheartedly jumps into whatever they're doing, like whatever work they're doing, whatever their experience they're in, they are in it 100%, and they're not just like off somewhere else in their mind, you know, they are in that experience.
Yeah.
And then the last part is just kind of a feeling you get from someone who's wholehearted, like you just feel like they're in tune, and they're connected to a higher power, and they're just, I guess the real feeling that I'm talking about is just love, like love exudes from them. So those are
That's
kind of the things
awesome.
I would think of.
That's great. So what is there
Sorry, the
anybody
sun
in?
is like blaring on me now. It just
No,
barely
you can re-angle. You don't have to keep it on you.
okay, I think that's good.
Yeah. Um, s- okay, so what about, that's got to be better for your eyes, right?
Oh yeah, much better.
Okay. It's funny because there's bugs that are flying around and they keep on landing on the screen, like right on your face. So it looks like you've
Oh
got
yeah.
a massive bug on your face. But okay, so what about the people in your life? Like who is somebody that represents wholehearted, and how have they impacted your life?
I feel like I'm so lucky and blessed because I have so many like good examples of people who are wholehearted in my life. Um, Honestly, like I know I'm just with him 24/7, but Zach is a good example to me of that, because he has that like just X factor that I was talking about. He has that
Yeah.
just like thing that exudes love and kindness, and and yeah, he's an amazing dad. Like with the kids, he I feel like he's more wholehearted than I am sometimes, just because he's just with them, like present with them. He'll play with them and just, be so happy and not be anywhere else in his mind. Like he's just with them.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do sometimes. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so he's one person I would think of. Another person, I think you've met her. Have you met my Aunt Pumpkin
I
from Barron?
have. Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, she is like one of my role models just because she she's just awesome. I don't know. I just have such a strong feeling of love whenever I'm around her. Like
Yeah.
she's so invested in everyone else in her life, and yeah, just really cool to be around her. So
Yeah. I can say that too. The time that I've gone down, and I stayed at their place one time when we were going to be doing a half marathon in Moab, and I remember just thinking her and Doug were just awesome.
yeah,
They were so much fun to talk to. We had a riot just chatting with them and cracking jokes all night, telling stories. We stayed up stupid
yeah,
late, even though we had to get up early the next morning, but they definitely made me feel like I was family and right at home
yeah.
instantly.
And that's how she is. For sure. Both of them are. But
Yeah.
yeah, she has a lot of the qualities that my grandma had, um, of just pure love and like devotion to family.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh. That's great. Okay, so what about yourself? Like, do you have any um, negative beliefs about yourself or any fears that you have to combat? And if so, like, how do you fight those?
yeah, I definitely do. I think most of us do have those. For me, I guess in this stage of life that I'm in, um, a lot of my like negative beliefs about myself are about my parenting. Um, and like I'm just really hard on myself. And at the end of the day, I feel so guilty sometimes if I was like yelling at my kids or something.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just like, I'm the worst parent. Like I'm gonna scar them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Um, so I think how I combat those is I first have to like figure out where those beliefs come from. Um, and I just have to have more compassion for myself. But I have to like I hold myself to like such a high standard that I wouldn't hold anyone else to. And
Yeah.
so I'm just like I just have to realize like and how another way I try to combat shame and fear whenever I feel that is trying to think of myself as a child and like how I would talk to a child, how I would talk to my daughter if she came to me with those same thoughts about herself. Um, and try to like have that same compassion for myself as I would for my
Wow.
daughter.
That's really good that you recognize that. I mean, the whole thing of um, how you treat yourself versus the bar you hold for somebody else is
Yeah, I
that's
mean it's
real.
hard because it's for sure real, and I don't do it all the time. But sometimes when I do realize that, like, oh, I'm these thoughts that I'm having about myself, or like the standard that I'm holding myself to is not realistic,
Yeah.
and no one else is holding me to that standard.
Yeah.
That helps.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that's a place that I could learn from you a little bit more. I struggled with my own self-view sometimes, especially related to parenting. It's
Yeah,
like I'll be upset at August, and he's just a little over 1 years old, and just the other day he was like shrieking, you know, my eardrum was pierced and my vision went blurry. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
totally.
and I just felt so frustrated, and it took me a while to be okay. You know, it's not like I acted on that frustration in any way,
Yeah,
but more so just I sometimes I won't even let myself be frustrated. Like that's not acceptable. And
yeah,
the reality is those things are stresses that we experience. They're real stress, you know.
yeah,
Your body reacts
exactly.
in the same way, and we got to have more forgiveness for ourselves. So
Yeah,
that's good that you're
and
doing that.
definitely like you can have forgiveness for yourself, but at the same time want to improve.
Yeah,
So,
right.
and learn from the experience. Like, okay, I did not like what I did in this moment. That doesn't mean I like have to hate myself or like just wallow in my shame forever. But I
Yeah.
can learn from it and like improve next time, hopefully. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. There you go. Oh man.